Welcome
to another episode
of Driving to the Res.
Yay! With Larry,
PB,
and Inelia.
Yes.
Because PB's here, you all heard her last week too. She's going, ew, ew, ew.
Yeah, she's a cutie.
She's a cutie pie. So this episode is also recorded at the Shaman Shack.
Nice and quiet.
Nice and quiet.
So our boat's pulled out of the water, so we're not driving to the boat on the res.
Yes. We're driving to the boat to Port
Townsend, yeah, it's hauled out of the water, getting its bottom scrubbed.
And that takes
painted.
several hours to get there, huh?
Yeah, that makes 6 hours of driving for 6 hours of boat working.
Yeah, that's a lot of driving.
It's a lot of podcasts.
Except that I don't go. And our car is very loud.
It's a lot of listening to them, honey.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah. Dan and I and one of my deckhands, Ramon, we drive to Port Townsend 3 hours and listen to good podcasts. Yesterday we listened to a Higher Side Chat.
Which one?
Oh, it was about Ormus.
Ormus, yeah. So last week we mentioned a little bit about instant manifestation.
That's right. We were going
to talk a little bit more, but basically there's a lot of information, tons and tons of information, tons and tons of methods, and tons of precautions and warning signs and things about instant manifestation.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be doing a workshop late January with 14 people. It's fully booked because I offer it to the walkwithmenow.com members first. And actually, that's the only ones that qualify for this particular one because it's going to be really advanced. So
you don't want to go instant manifesting on yourself if you haven't got the tools and the skills
to figure yourself out.
Because, I mean, I suppose it's true we're instantly manifesting already, right?
All the time, yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
But when we move it into a more conscious state, then our thoughts start impeding on it more than the unconscious, programs that we're basically safely ensconced in at the moment. I guess that'd be the right word, right?
Safely
ensconced.
Disempowered.
Safely disempowered, right? Our little, we got the training wheels on. There's a bit of a time delay. You can have your bad thought and go away, get distracted by another thing really fast.
And it takes a long time for those bad thoughts to mount up and become big enough for you to manifest.
You really got to work at it, you know.
Yeah, but if you use some of the instant manifestation tools, which Ormus, interestingly enough, appears to be, especially the metal oils. There's reports of instant manifestation with those, but the reports are not very positive.
They were more like a warning sign, huh?
Yeah.
Like, be careful because this made life hell for 9 months until it finally shut off. It took too much.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, the one lady we had listened to, and I wish I had her name. We could probably put it in there at the end. Chris. Yeah. She mentioned the ionic state of the minerals, the trace minerals that we often got in our food when we were living more in alignment, I suppose, with a powerful body.
And a powerful soil where the plants grew. Which
was the powerful soil where the plants grew. We had our own gardens and we had healthy biomes and all these. And actually, we have a little video about dirt coming up one of these days that kind of details some of the things that are in the dirt. I mean, the dirt was the most live, the basis of everything, and it was the ionic, instead of like crystalline, but ionic. Little tiny bitty itsy bitsies, not even dirt size bits of minerals that our bodies use at a genetic DNA level that get our glands operating properly, which puts out the hormones, which makes our body function correctly. And when you start tamping all these things down and turning the volumes down on all these things, you enter into the state that most of us exist in, which is something of a disempowered state, right? Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. So replacing them strictly from a mineral sense, which is what Ormus is, in the Ormus that was from salt water, ocean water, that should help remineralize your body, and that'll turn your glands back on, your pituitary gland, the glands that create the hormones that make your body function properly. So I've noticed that, and I think we talked about that not too long ago. how in the 20s and the 1800s and whatnot, people would be
have
plopped
so
into the
much
middle of
energy,
nowhere.
man.
And in
So
no time,
much energy and power.
no time at all, there'd be a homestead, a farm, cows and horses and fields. Have you ever tried to put a fence up? Have you tried to make a fence by cutting down a tree and then splitting it into pieces and then sticking those pieces in the dirt and then stringing wire around?
I know.
My gosh, if I had to do a 1 acre field by cutting a cedar tree down and cutting it to the right lengths and then splitting it with a handsaw, we would be having no fence for about 2 or 3 years probably.
And even in the museum, in the macaw museum, the stuff that macaws, and built and got on with, the environment they lived in and the work they did.
And your house fits on your canoe, and your canoe came out of a cedar log. You carved that sucker out, and then you built a house out of the other part of the cedar tree. These giant things. It's a giant house, and you made it big enough for 6 or 8 families to live in it. And you made that out of trees.
Yeah, and what impressed me also was how the young men would cover themselves in seal oil.
Yeah.
And then go out in the ocean and swim for hours in the cold, cold ocean. The same ocean that these days, when you go to the Coast Guard training, because I went to one of the Coast Guard training for driving the Ilaria and being on a boat, living on a boat. They said you can only last I can't remember how many seconds or minutes.
15 minutes.
15 minutes max
an hour
or something.
Maximum.
In the water
half
before
an hour maybe,
you die
if you're
of
super
cold.
lucky. You're going to die of hypothermia, yeah.
That's if you have a suit on or something. But if you have just your clothes and you fall into the water, your body starts going cold immediately. And, that's why you need your vest all the time, because your body will start swimming.
Yeah, I don't remember
exactly
if it was our tribe, macaw tribe, or it was another tribe. But there was a story I'd read just recently, within the last month, about a fella or two who were on board a boat that sank. And they didn't have life jackets. They didn't have survival suits. They didn't have anything. It might have been a sealer's. Oh, yeah. So it was sealers, I think, in their little canoe.
Yeah.
Because they'd bring their canoes out on the schooner ship. They put the canoes out, and the canoes would go out and catch seals and then come back in the afternoon or something and then put the seals on the ship. And these guys went out and they didn't come back. And they went to look for them the next day, and the boat had sunk, and they'd been swimming around for a full day.
Yeah.
In the ocean water. And they were fine.
Yeah, that was that documentary about your family, remember?
That wasn't it?
Yeah, the Macaw tribe.
That was a screening we watched. It'd be nice to get that. They haven't released that movie yet, I don't think. There was just some released. Screenings of it from the museum. That was fascinating.
It was fascinating, yeah.
It reminds me of Wim Hof, too. The breathing Iceman.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
He can tolerate the cold well and above and beyond
anything that I've ever
regular
heard.
Human, but it's apparently not that it's above and beyond any regular human. It's just above and beyond our current experience of human.
Yeah, exactly. And he uses breathing, doesn't use Ormus.
He uses breathing and he uses meditation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there are different ways to achieve that state of powerful body, right? Our physical body is being powerful. But yeah, Ormus is very interesting. I've never tried it. In Walk With Me Now, several individuals have already tried it, and they wrote their reports and experiences around it. And it interests me. It makes it fascinating to me. I think during the event, one of our participants is bringing in, or going to start some Ormus beforehand.
She's an alchemist, yes.
She's an alchemist, yeah. She's a alchemist in training. And she's starting the Ormus now, so that when the end of January starts, the workshop starts, she'll have enough for all the participants, and we're going to see what happens.
Yeah, because in the alchemy process, in the Ormus process, there is the physical part about it's ion of mineral, right? Mm-hmm. And that's relevant part. But in our world, we have more than just the physical expression of reality. There's the non-physical, the ultra-dimensional, the extra-dimensional, higher-dimensional parts of it. And in creating Ormus, it lends itself well to bringing in higher energies, higher dimensionals, higher states of awareness, the spark of life even.
Yes, the spark of life. That's the key.
M state, right.
The key to it is the spark of life. I was thinking about that because the spark of life has been used, and humans have used the spark of life, or generating that spark to bring life in, for magic, right? Which is instant manifestation, or manifestation, empowered manifestation, or conscious manifestation, for a very, very long time. Ormus being one of them that I think was rediscovered. It says rediscovered recently.
Rediscovered,
but also you have like chaos magic, which also uses the same energy through sex, right? So it's not like it's unknown. It's something that people know about, the spark of life energy. Bring it in, and you can infuse your thoughts or your desires, wishes, daydreams, creations on the planet, i.e. manifestations, with this energy, and they'll come through and out, in stronger ways. That's why we need the workshop that I'm carrying out. People all have to do quite a lot of the classes and courses that I put out, because to reach that level of empowerment, and that's the warning sign, right? You really need to have your shit together, pardon my French. You really need to get yourself in a state where you are the empowered individual. You are the sovereign who is in charge of his or her thoughts, and not the other way around, and emotions. You cannot be swayed into this or that by external forces at any time. And that's possible, and it's amazing and very freeing and incredibly good state to live in. People who are achieving that state are, it's just really, really, really different.
It kind of reminds me a little bit of the Interview with an Angel book, where you meet Michael. And the experience of Michael, being the scary boy, guarding the gates of heaven. In this case, though, he was just, I think, testing you in some way.
Yeah.
And you want to share that story real quick?
Yeah, so the book Interview with an Angel is one of my novels. All of my novels are empowerment novels. In other words, they're infused with mystical energies to help the individual who reads them step out of their limiting programs and belief systems. This particular story about Michael is an experience that I had in real life, and I translated it into a novel with the Archangel Michael, or what we might call Archangel Michael, which is a being who, there's not just one, but there's a being whose job it is to almost guard the collective low-frequency gamers from reaching the high-frequency gamers area.
That makes sense when you say it that way. It's not like the gates of heaven.
No.
It's the gates between two experiences of reality.
Exactly. So when people are still functioning from a level of fear, what happens is when they meet him, they see fire in his eyes and a big flaming sword coming at them. And if they turn and run because they're afraid, they're not ready for that other place, because they're still carrying fear within them and still giving power away to somebody else to hurt them, which is the power over others game. And if you still carry the power over the other's game, you're not able to function within a fully empowered instant manifestation high frequency location. Is not compatible, right? So, for example, everybody will be manifesting beautiful experiences, adventures, and expressions and explorations of the universe and multiverse, and there you go inside and start being afraid of everything and manifesting monsters and bringing them in, so it's basically not compatible.
Doesn't work together.
Yeah. So when he came at me with these fiery eyes and the sword, I thought he was, isn't that interesting? Isn't that beautiful? My body did respond a little bit in fear, but then it was like, wait, that's really fascinating. It's more than it was like a state of fascination with the fire in his eyes, and especially, and I was looking into his eyes, and suddenly they became oceans, like the ocean, blue and intense, and like deep depth of the ocean, full of wonder and life and sentiency.
And probably intense energy, like vast reservoir of.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because the ocean is powerful, man, powerful. So that kind of, and I've seen others face that state and not play with the fear, right? Just step out of it. It's not about fighting. Yeah, if other people will take out their swords and start fighting him, you know. So they're still carrying that energy of the warrior. Or I'm really enjoying war games. And for you to enjoy war games, you need to be in a state of low frequency games because you're hurting others, right? And you're charging in and seeing who's stronger, who can hurt the other more to defeat them. So yeah, that energy, instant manifestation, all that stuff is really fascinating. I think to me, why am I interested in it? Why am I talking about it so much? I've been talking about having at least 1 million or even 1,000 light worker, highly empowered, totally figured out their lives and their stuff, billionaires on the planet. Even if we have 1,000 of you, we can create enormous changes, because what is being a billionaire is just the ability to do, right? The use at the moment on the planet, we use money, and having a lot of it means that you can do a lot. And yeah, people talk about, oh, what will I want to do with my billions? Yeah, you get a nice car, a nice house, a yacht or 2 or 3 and whatever. And that's all good. That's all good because you're enjoying the fruits of your empowerment, of your manifestation. But then what do you do with the rest? And that's what it becomes interesting to me, right? Because, yeah, I would like all those things too. They're very nice, right? Mm-hmm. But what would be interesting to me for you to use the money on to invest and create those new structures that we've been talking about, like education, like work that's high frequency.
Education, education that's teaching you
life
to be
on
a
Earth.
Powerful being.
Exactly.
Not a
pawn or a slave.
Great worker.
Yeah. Yeah.
A great thinker, a great inspiration, a great example of, hey, here's a life that you can have, and here's how you can have it, and here's how to have a house, and
high frequency
take care of your land
workplaces.
and be a guardian for your space. Although more than 1 + 1 = 5. I mean, wait, does it equal 5?
No.
I guess I better go back. I got the calculus, but I skipped the addition part. Interesting.
Yeah. So instant manifestation, Ormus, is very high on the agenda right now for us. Mm-hmm. Now you know why. The conversations are carrying out, walkwithmenow.com. That's the type of conversations we have there. And
I just wanted to bring up, we're going to try, wait, I don't know if I should tell everyone.
What?
Alternate use of our Lemurian portal pyramid. So they might come lick our coin.
That sounds terrible.
Don't say that.
That sounds terrible.
So we're going to hang a gold coin in our pyramid.
Well, I thought we had nuggets. We're going to use nuggets.
No, we need a coin.
Right. Oh, okay.
We have to have a coin because we need the flat surface.
All right, guys,
we need surface area.
Send us a pure gold coin, okay?
We'll hang it in the pyramid, halfway down in the Lemurian portal, and Lucy will guard it so nobody will take it. Yeah. And it's going to grow gold oil on the surface that we have to use a toothpick to clutch a tiny bit of.
Yes.
And that toothpick worth is enough to instantly manifest for a little while. Not for 9 months. Just a little sample.
Yeah.
But we got to come up with a gold coin, and, I don't often stop into the gold coin store. But I will be trying to. But if anybody has a gold coin sitting around that really doesn't have a lot of use, it's just gathering dust, we can put it to use, and you can have it back.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, we won't keep it forever, unless you want to give it away.
Yeah.
Not going to say no, but a nice gold coin to borrow. I don't know how long we have to hang it in the Lemurian portal, but I think that it's a very worthwhile experiment.
Oh, I think so too. Yes, I think so too.
Yeah.
Do you want to give them the address?
11672 Hoko Ozette Road. Clallam Bay, 98326.
Washington.
Oh, Washington State, yeah. There'll be in the show notes. You could get the address.
So, yeah, that's the Shaman Shack.
That's a shaman shack where the, pyramid exists.
Mm-hmm. Only high frequencies invited.
Yes. And gold coins.
And gold coins.
I think there's a gold coin store in Port Angeles. I might stop by on my way.
Okay.
Because I'm really curious about that.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
That would be fun, yeah.
So, the story with Michael reminded me of my bear dreams.
Oh, yeah.
And it was similar
That's true.
type of my realization at one point comes, when you're talking about your conscious control of your reality, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to include your sleeping, dreaming reality. When you're having dreams and you're at the whim of the way that the dream flows, in other words, you're the passenger and not the author,
Mm-hmm.
and you're responding to your dreams based on your internal fears or your internal works that you've done or haven't done or whatever, you can find yourself in nightmares that you have no control over whatsoever,
Mm-hmm.
and terrors and all these things, right? If you haven't got the conscious waking skills to handle those things, you will not have the unconscious sleeping skills to handle these things either. So that's why it's so critically important to have the very simple thing like the fear processing tool,
Mm-hmm.
and then to utilize it in daily conscious thought on a regular enough basis in response to the things that come at you that appear to be, like external things, right?
Mm-hmm.
This thing happens and you have a fear, and instead of reacting to the fear, you use the response tool, which is processing that fear, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you've altered the way you respond to reality.
Let me just put a little note here.
All right.
The fear processing exercise, you can access it at ineliabenz.com.
Yes.
The text is free. You can also YouTube fear processing exercise Inelia Benz, and you can get 1 or 2 or more YouTubes of me using it and teaching people how to use it.
And in Walk With Me Now, yeah, part of the new book, one of the chapters in the new book, which is coming chapter by chapter on Walk With Me Now, including the book club, which is a live reading of the first draft of each chapter, includes
fear processing
exercise
with the firewall exercise.
With the firewall exercise done out in a complete start to finish. I mean, it's excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, when you start applying those things in your conscious waking day-to-day life, that starts to bleed into your unconscious sleeping life too.
Mm-hmm.
You've retrained your state.
Yes.
Right. So when I was having these dreams, since I was freaking 11 or 12 years old, my
You lived in
bedroom,
Alaska, though.
yeah, my bedroom was down on the bottom floor, and the window was a little bit open because I like a little cool air. But I read this book called Alaska Bear Tales.
Oh my gosh.
And I don't know, about 100 or so people get ate up by bears in horrible ways. So from that moment on, I was terrified a bear was going to reach his claws in and get me through my window,
Oh my God.
to the point where I would be under my covers sweating
Oh no.
and terrified. You can imagine. Don't move a muscle, not
a
one muscle,
bear
because a
outside
bear
the
will come
window.
get you. If you move, they will get you. If you don't move, they won't.
Okay.
You know
got it.
how it works.
Yes.
So I had spun myself in a pretty good terror state.
Yeah.
And consequently, I started to begin to have dreams about a bear chasing me.
Yeah.
Not only was I afraid while I was awake, that transferred into my dreams. And now when I would finally get to sleep, a bear would come chase me down.
Oh man.
It was exactly the same as processing your fear in the daytime transfers into your nighttime. Well, not processing your fear in the daytime, it transferred into the nighttime.
Yes.
So for the next 20 or 30 years, until finally I met you and found your tools and could use the fear processing exercise. Until then, 30 some years, I had, at least once a week, a dream of these bears chasing me.
Oh man.
And they got so complicated, and I can run fast and I could fly. But you know how it is, you get flying away and you're getting away, and then you're in the mud and you're going really slow, and it don't matter how hard you try, your legs just don't move. And even though the bear is going 900 miles an hour to catch up to you, it's like only a millimeter behind you still.
Oh
and you
my
just got to
God.
move just a little bit more, and it'll get away. But your leg won't move.
Oh man.
Yeah. So I started doing the fear exercise, the fear processing exercise, and I started practicing it on every fear, and every time it came up, I started really embodying it. And one night, I had been in this normal dream. There's a bear chasing me. It's a giant bear, too. And I had managed to create a missile silo around me.
Your dream.
With 4 or 8 foot thick cement walls. No bear could possibly get through those cement walls. And a steel roof, 10 foot thick steel roof.
You're getting good at those.
And I was inside that sucker. It's like, no bear getting in here. And then I went, wait a minute. Fear processing, fear processing. And I became conscious enough at the moment to process the fear that I had been carrying, right? And as I processed
you were
the
still
fear,
dreaming, right?
I was dreaming, yes. I was processing this fear in my dream. Mm-hmm. I processed the fear. As I processed it, I realized that I wasn't afraid of this bear. As a matter of fact, I'm going to give this bear a hug. And I opened up the top of the silo, and I thought the bear would just like sniff in or something. No, it jumped in, claws out both sides, gonna bite me, and I just gave him a big hug. he burst into a million points of light.
Wow.
It was the most liberating feeling I've had probably in my entire life up to that time.
Wow. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
You know,
That's
so
amazing.
that's part of the point, I think, which is as you move it from conscious, it goes to the unconscious. As you want to move into instant manifestation, conscious control of your manifestations, you need to have that skill at an unconscious level too.
Oh, yes.
Including your dreaming.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. It's all about becoming conscious of all of our choices, because at the end of the day, it's about choices. Becoming conscious about our choices and not allowing them to be made by programs that are you integrated into your life through culture or family or experiences, but actually make them conscious choices all the time. That's why I call it conscious manifestation. And navigating conscious manifestation is really fascinating. There's a lot of stories. When I look at human skills, mm-hmm. right, I start looking at mythology, and that's something that I learned in university in Ireland. And this teacher was really good. I can't remember what class it was, but it was very good. And one of the reading books was the women who walk with wolves or dance with wolves. I can't remember. And Dancing with Wolves. I don't remember exactly the name. Estella Estres. I'm so bad with names.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
I'm really sorry about that. We'll put it on the notes. Inelia will put it on the show notes.
If you remember to tell him what you're talking about.
Yeah, he'll remind me. Don't worry. Okay. He'll remind me. So, anyways, this book was fascinating because it talked about how many legends around the world reflected teachings that were very similar, and it went on from there. So what I then carried on studying mythical tales and stories. I was always fascinated with them, even as a child. We had this book about Greek mythology, and I would read it over and over again. Anyways, what I understood afterwards, as more research went into it, was that many of the cautionary tales in our world that are repeated in many cultures around the world, and they often are direct pointers to human skills, actual human skills. So instant manifestation has so many cautionary tales. The two that I can think of are Aladdin and King Midas. And
the leprechaun with the gold.
How is that instant manifestation?
Well, you get a wish when you catch them, don't you?
And it always goes wrong.
Oh, it always goes wrong because you have to be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, and all the tales about making deals with the devil, it always goes wrong, right? Because you want to manifest something instantly. So looking at those cautionary tales, I understood then that it meant not so much don't do it, but train yourself and get your stuff together. You know, don't work from a place of fear. don't work from a place of low frequencies, power over others, revenge, and all these type of things. Because those who are going to go wrong eventually, how do they go wrong? They hurt others, they hurt you. It's not something that you want to do, really, if you're a high frequency being. Obviously, if you're a low frequency being, that's exactly what you want to do. Establish a low power over others paradigm where you hurt other people. But that's not who you are. Otherwise, you wouldn't be listening to this podcast. So cautionary tales often move. So if you want to know all the amazing skills that we have as a species, you can start looking at mythology and all the cautionary tales that are there, and then follow the cautions, right? Because it's not like don't do it, just be aware and be careful, because these things you need to sort out before you do these or you use your skills. And
or you'll hit the gate, you'll hit the wall, the space, the place where Michael stands, and you'll be turned back.
That's right.
It's okay to get to the gate and turn around.
It is.
You can keep coming to the gate. It might take 30 years, like me. But be aware that that gate's there for a reason. It's to hold you in the game that you're choosing. So if you're choosing a different game, then you're not the victim of the game that you're in. You're the skilled ability user of the new game that you want to join.
Exactly. Plus also those limitations and the games, they're yours. You put them there.
You put them there, right.
And you have co-creators. It's not like it's external, right?
Right. It's just simply to help hold you in the game you've chosen.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Right. Because we like our reality to be reasonably solid, and you wake up in the morning, you still have a house. You go outside and I'll still have a car.
Yeah.
You open your wallet and you still have the $20. It didn't disappear in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Reality is solidity.
Yes.
And repeatability and memory and longevity, right?
Yeah.
So if both you and I have our instant manifestation going and we go to bed and wake up in the morning, my $20 might be in your wallet. Honey, can I have my $20 back?
That's the other way around.
Wait a minute.
All my money ends up in your wallet all the time.
Yeah, it does that. It's pretty good. We should just leave that one.
Just forget about that one.
Just leave that one alone. Let's do a different one.
That's funny.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Interesting when you start looking at it. I mean, there's the very surface bit, and then when you dig in a little bit, it becomes very interesting. Mm-hmm. Like, look at that.
Look at what?
That design on your curtain there.
Yeah.
It's a Fibonacci.
I don't quite see it, but...
Look.
Oh,
see the curve?
Yeah.
It's just like a shell. It's so perfect.
Oh, it's yeah. There's something about those numbers.
Oh, and that's funny too. Those numbers are part of the alchemical process with creating the Ormus using Fibonacci numbers and sequences like that.
Mm. We also listened to, I don't know if you did, but Ash and I listened to, and I think Kara also listened to it, a podcast on numbers.
Mm.
And
I didn't listen.
That was fascinating. That's another bit of instant manifestation thing coming in, like tools and things and stories that you can use to create instant manifestation. And the numbers were empowered numbers that are being used all over the world to create certain realities by programming the human species. And it's really fascinating because one of the things that I question is, how do we use them? Right? How do we use these numbers as high-frequency individuals on the planet to guide ourselves and others, even in the planet itself, even the entire human species, into a high-frequency experience and co-creation? Because the others are the ones that are promoting fear and low frequency. They use them all the time, right? They're using it all the time. So why don't we use it like way too, right?
I think we do, but ours is like 1111, right?
The angel numbers.
Angel numbers and things like that. But we don't often embed our stuff with secret manipulative numbers to secretly move things. It's like...
Well, it doesn't have to be secret. You can actually state it out. You could say, hey, boys and girls, and men and women, we're going to be using the number 2222 for the next week or month, And every time that you see it, I want you to think about a beautiful, high-frequency human collective that is empowered and is no longer playing the fear games.
How about we do that?
Let's do it.
Okay, 2222.
2222. And you don't even have to see it. You can even think it.
So we need to switch our
22.
clocks to 24-hour clock now.
So we can see the
So we get
22.
22s
Yes.
because that's 10:22
Yeah.
p.m. Okay.
Let's play that game
Okay.
until the next episode, and then we can.
Everyone
share
has
our
a phone
thoughts.
that's listening to this. Everyone has a computer that's listening to this. Switch your phone or your computer to 24-hour clock.
Yeah.
It's the active thing you've done to join the game.
Yes.
And now your clock is going to be saying these numbers all the way up to 24.
Yeah. Oh, roadside markers are great if you do a lot of driving.
You'll see the 22, 22.
Yeah. Even if it's just 122, you'll get it because you can put the other 22 on top of it by saying it.
Okay, so we're talking about then 22 or 2222.
Yes.
All forms of tutu.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
2222.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's
That's
a
going to be
great
a
name.
nice experiment for a month.
Yeah.
And so what do we do when we see 22 or
I thought we
2222?
were doing a week. Are we doing a month?
Well, we can have a report after week and see if we're going to continue.
Okay. Yeah. I think a month is actually a good number.
I do too, because...
Maybe 22 days.
Okay, 22 days.
So when you hear this, it's Monday.
Yep.
And put it on your calendar. And actually, you can put a calendar reminder that just says 2222.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just like that you're going to see it out in the world, which you will start seeing it. It's that you put it into the world. You put it into the world. And you can write 2222 in your networks and social networks and everything every day. And other people will then see it, right? Become curious.
So a month would be putting us around 1222 or 1221,
Something like that.
which is pretty nice, right?
Yeah.
Because what day is that?
I don't know.
Solstice.
Oh, 1221 is solstice, yeah. That's nice. I don't know how it relates, but
Well, it's a synchronicity, honey.
okay. 12. Oh, there's a 22 in the middle. 12,
22.
21.
Yes,
There's a 22
there's
in
a
the
22
middle.
in the middle, right?
Yeah. Very good.
Ta-da!
Ta-da!
See, magic instantly. And what are we
Uh-huh.
supposed to do when we see a 22 or a 2222? We're supposed to what?
Daydream a beautiful,
Daydream.
amazing, high frequency
Beautiful, amazing,
world.
high frequency world.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
All right, we did it. How do you feel, honey? Do you feel complete?
Oh, I think that's complete. Yes.
That's amazing.
That's
Finished the
amazing. I'm like
podcast.
almost in a buzzing state
Yay.
of high frequency. Thank you.
Perfect.
I love you, honey.
I love you too, honey.